Introduction: The Invaded House. Imagine you arrive home after a long, exhausting day. You put the key in the lock, turn the handle, and walk in. You expect to find peace, silence, and your personal sanctuary. But as soon as you cross the threshold, you feel something strange. The air is charged. There is an electrical tension that makes your skin crawl. You go to the living room and see that someone has moved your furniture. There is garbage on the floor that you didn't throw away. The television is on a channel you hate, with the volume maxed out, broadcasting news of catastrophes and fears. And then you hear it. A voice coming from upstairs. A voice that criticizes how you are dressed. A voice that laughs at what you said in the work meeting. A voice that begins to enumerate, with sadistic coldness, all the reasons why you are going to fail tomorrow. You freeze in the hallway. Your heart races. You feel a knot in your stomach. You are not alone in the house. There is someone else living there, someone you did not invite, someone who does not pay rent, who eats your food, who spends your energy, and who has taken over the best rooms, leaving you relegated to sleeping on the sofa in the entryway, scared and small. The most terrifying thing about this scene is not the invasion itself. The most terrifying thing is that, for years, you have convinced yourself that voice was you. Welcome to The Squatter. The premise of this audiobook is simple but devastating. Your mind is a luxury property, but you have a problem with illegal occupation. That negative voice, that incessant narrator who tells you that you are not enough, who generates anxiety at 3 in the morning, who sabotages you just as you are about to succeed. It is not your identity, it is not your personality, and it is definitely not your reality. It is a parasite, it is an intruder, it is a squatter. Most of us live under the Stockholm Syndrome with our own mind. We have fallen in love with our captor. We believe that critical voice is necessary for survival. We think, if I don't criticize myself, others will criticize me. If I don't worry, things will go wrong. That voice is only trying to protect me. Lie. That voice does not protect you. It extorts you. It charges you a protection tax in the form of cortisol, adrenaline, and anguish. It feeds on your stress. The worse you feel, the stronger it becomes. It is an energetic vampire living in the attic of your consciousness. How did he get in? You probably left the door open in childhood. Perhaps it was a moment of trauma, a harsh criticism from a parent, a mockery at school, or an early failure. In that moment of vulnerability, the squatter slipped in. At first, he was quiet. He disguised himself as common sense or prudence. He told you, "Don't do that, it's dangerous, better stay still." He seemed like a friend, but little by little he gained ground. He started decorating the walls of your mind with pictures of your worst memories. He changed the soundtrack of your dreams to nightmares, and today he has become so strong that he believes he owns the house. He makes you believe that you are the guest. He makes you ask for his permission to be happy. He makes you feel guilty if you rest. But I have news for you, and it is the reason you are listening to this. You still have the deeds to the house. Your name is still on the door. You are the sole legitimate owner of your mind, your body, and your energy. The squatter has no legal rights. He only has the power you cede to him with your fear. This audiobook is not a soft talk about positive thinking. We are not going to negotiate with the terrorist. We are not going to ask the squatter to please be quieter. This is a court order for immediate eviction. In the next chapters, we are going to execute a tactical operation to reclaim your territory. First, we will learn to perform the inspection. I will teach you to dissociate from the voice, to look it in the face and say, "You are not me." You will learn to recognize its tricks, its disguises, and its triggers. Then we will move to the siege phase. We are going to cut off his supplies. The squatter eats drama and drinks attention. If you stop feeding him, if you stop reacting emotionally to his provocations, he will weaken. You will learn attention strike techniques that will leave him famished. Finally, we will proceed to the lock change. We will install a perimeter security system in your mind so sophisticated that no negative thought will be able to enter again without your express authorization. Reclaiming your mind is not a peaceful process at first. The squatter is going to throw a tantrum. He is going to scream louder. He is going to try to scare you with his best tricks. But you are no longer going to be afraid, because now you know his secret. Without your attention, he does not exist. He is just a shadow projected on the wall. You are the light that projects it. It is time to clean house. It is time to open the windows and let the fresh air in. It is time to reclaim the keys. The moving truck is at the door. Are you ready to evict him forever? Let's begin the eviction. Chapter 1. It's not you, it's him. Tactical dissociation. Welcome to the inspection of your own house. Before we can evict the squatter, we first have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he and you are two different entities. Most people spend their entire lives fused with their mental voice. They believe that every thought that crosses their mind is a truth produced by themselves. If the voice says, "I am useless," the person feels, "Oh, I am useless." If the voice says, "Something bad is going to happen," the person feels, "I am afraid because I am in danger." This fusion is the trap. If you believe the voice is you, you cannot fight it. Because fighting it would be fighting yourself. It would be a civil war. And in a civil war, you always lose. To break this fusion, we are going to conduct a very simple thought experiment right now. I want you to close your eyes for a moment, if you can, or simply look down. I want you to listen to your next thought. Wait for it to appear. Maybe it's, "What am I doing?" Or "I'm hungry," or "This is silly." Observe it. Now I ask you the question that changes everything. If you are listening to the thought, who is the one listening? You cannot be the one speaking and the one listening at the same time. If you can observe an object, you are not the object. If you can see your hand, you are not your hand, you are the one who sees. If you can hear your thought, you are not the thought. You are the one who listens. You are the witness consciousness. You are the silent space where thoughts occur. The voice that speaks, comments, criticizes, and narrates non-stop. That is the squatter intruder. In psychology, it is called the ego. In neuroscience, the default mode network. Spiritual traditions call it the monkey mind. Call it whatever you want, but understand this. It is a biological machine for generating noise. Your brain is an organ, just like your heart or your kidneys. The function of the heart is to pump blood. The function of the kidneys is to filter urine. The function of the brain is to generate thoughts. You don't blame yourself when your heart beats, do you? You don't say, "Oh my God, I am the one beating." You know it's an automatic process. However, when your brain generates a thought of fear, you say, "It's me." No, it is your brain doing what it does, secreting survival thoughts. The squatter intruder is not an evil monster who hates you. He is something more pathetic and dangerous. He is an obsolete survival mechanism. He is the primitive part of your brain that evolved 100,000 years ago to keep you from being eaten by lions. His job is to look for problems, scan for dangers, recall past pains so as not to repeat them. That's why he is so negative. A happy brain on the African savannah was a dead brain because it didn't see the lion. A paranoid brain survived. The problem is that you no longer live on the savannah. You live in an apartment. But your squatter still believes that every email from your boss is a predator. When you understand this, the guilt disappears. You are not a negative person. You have a negative mind, which is very different. Having a negative mind is the factory setting of the human being. The error is not having negative thoughts. The squatter will always talk. The error is inviting them in for coffee and believing they are telling the truth. Imagine you are driving your car. You, the consciousness, are at the wheel. In the back seat is a drunk, scared, and slightly crazy passenger, the squatter. The passenger shouts at you, "Be careful, we're going to crash. That car is giving us a dirty look. You don't know how to drive. Turn left." Most people, hearing the shouts, get scared, let go of the wheel, and let the drunk drive, and they crash. The master of their mind does something different. They hear the shouts. They can't help hearing them. But they keep their eyes on the road and their hands on the wheel. They tell the passenger, "I hear you, but I'm ignoring you. I'm driving." In this first part, I want you to practice the art of dissociation. For the next few hours, every time your mind tells you something painful or anxiety-inducing, don't say, "I am afraid." Say, "The squatter is afraid." Don't say, "I hate myself." Say, "The squatter is throwing insults today." That small linguistic change creates a safety distance. It creates a space between you and the voice, and that space is where your freedom lives. The moment you observe the monster from the outside, he stops being a monster and becomes an annoying pet. But how exactly do we differentiate when the squatter is talking and when you, your true intelligence, are talking? Because the squatter is a master of disguise. Sometimes he sounds very logical. Sometimes he sounds like the voice of reason. In the second part, I will give you the tools to unmask him. You will learn to identify his vocal print and his favorite tricks for impersonating you. Profiling the suspect, the squatter's 3 masks. We now know there is an intruder. Now let's create a composite sketch of him. The squatter intruder doesn't always shout. If he always shouted, he would be easy to spot. He often whispers. He often uses logic. He often disguises himself as help. To evict him, you have to know how to recognize him under any of his 3 main disguises. Mask 1, the critic, the supreme judge. This is the most common disguise. He presents himself as a voice for self-improvement. He tells you he only wants you to be better. You shouldn't have said that, you looked foolish. Look how fat you are. No one will love you like that. Don't bother, you're going to fail anyway. The critic's trick is that he uses partial truths to sell you total lies. Maybe it's true that you are a little overweight, partial truth, but the conclusion, no one will love you, is a total lie designed to hurt you. How do you recognize him? By the tone. The critic is never compassionate. He is harsh, cold, repetitive, and cruel. Your true inner voice, your higher self, may correct you, but it does so with love and encouragement. Come on, we can do better next time. If it hurts, it's the squatter. Mask 2. The catastrophist, the horror screenwriter. This disguise appears when there is uncertainty. His specialty is the what if. What if you get fired? What if that pain is cancer? What if the plane crashes? The catastrophist has an Oscar-winning imagination. He projects 4K movies of your ruined future. He makes you feel that worrying is being responsible. He tells you, if you don't worry, you'll be caught off guard. Worrying is being prepared. Lie. Worrying is suffering twice. How do you recognize him? By the urgency. The catastrophist always rushes you. He makes you feel that danger is imminent. He makes your heart race. Your true inner voice is calm and focused on the present. Mask 3, the victim, the wounded child. This is the most subtle and sticky disguise. He tells you, poor me. Everyone is against me. It's unfair. I can't do anything. The victim seeks validation and comfort, but he steals all your power. He convinces you that you are powerless against circumstances. How do you recognize him? By the heaviness. When you listen to the victim, you feel like you run out of energy. You feel that the world is big and you are small. He paralyzes you. The labeling exercise. Now that you know his faces, let's play catch them. Your task for this chapter is simple. Label. When a negative thought arises, do not argue with it. Do not try to analyze why you think it. That is falling into his trap. The squatter loves to debate to waste time. Simply put a label on him. Oh, look, there's the critic telling me I'm ugly. Wow, there's the catastrophist telling me I'm going to be ruined. Hello, victim. I see you're complaining today. By labeling them, you take away their power of truth and turn them into mental events. You go from I am a failure, identity, to I am having the thought that I am a failure, event. That distance is the key to your sanity. The landlord's golden rule. You cannot control what thoughts knock on your door. The squatter has a key for now, but you have absolute control over who you invite in for tea. A thought only stays if you offer him a chair, your attention, and serve him a drink, your emotion. If the thought calls, you label him, it's the critic, and continue doing what you were doing without opening the door. The thought will leave. He will stay yelling in the hallway for a while, yes. But if you don't give him food, he will get tired. Chapter 2. The Modus Operandi, how he feeds. The chemical vampire. Your stress is his dinner. You have achieved the first step. You have dissociated. You know the voice is not you. But that leaves us with a disturbing question. If that voice is an intruder, why is he still there? What does he want from me? Why does he insist on making me feel miserable? The answer is not psychological, it is biological. The squatter intruder doesn't hate you. In fact, he cares about you a lot. He cares about you as much as a farmer cares about his dairy cow. He needs you alive, but he needs you in a very specific state so he can milk you. To understand this, you have to stop seeing your negative thoughts as sad truths and start seeing them as bait. Imagine you are fishing. You put a worm on the hook. Do you want to feed the fish? No, you want to catch it. The worm is just the means to achieve the end. The squatter intruder works the same way. He throws you a thought bait. Your partner is going to leave you. You bite the hook, you believe it. And the moment you believe it, your body reacts. Your brain sends an alert signal to the adrenal glands. Bang! You release cortisol, the stress hormone, and adrenaline into your bloodstream. Your heart races, your hands sweat, your stomach clenches. That chemical injection, that rush of dense, spicy energy that runs through your body, that is the squatter's food. He does not feed on words. He feeds on low-frequency emotional energy. Fear, anger, guilt, and shame are gourmet dishes for him. They are dense. They are potent. Peace, joy, and calm, on the contrary, are toxic to him. In a state of peace, there is no cortisol, there is no food. The squatter starves in a calm body. That's why he sabotages you when you are doing well. Has this ever happened to you? You are having a perfect day. You are relaxed on the couch. Everything is fine. And suddenly, out of nowhere, your mind tells you, hey, remember that time you made a fool of yourself 5 years ago? Or it tells you, what if you get fired tomorrow? You think, why am I thinking this now? It makes no sense. Exactly, it makes no logical sense. It makes feeding sense. The squatter has noticed that the cortisol level in your blood has dropped too low. He is hungry. So he pokes you with a sharp thought so you secrete his drug. He is a junkie, and you are his unwitting dealer. When you understand this mechanism, the game changes completely. You stop analyzing the content of the thoughts. Is it true I'm going to be fired? And start seeing the intention. The squatter wants his 6 p.m. fix. You realize that the thought has nothing to do with reality. It is just a lever to open the chemical faucet. The squatter is a master of efficiency. He knows exactly which buttons to push. He has a detailed file of your traumas, your insecurities, and your deepest fears. If you are afraid of illness, he will attack you with imaginary symptoms. If you are afraid of abandonment, he will attack you with jealousy. If you are afraid of failure, he will attack you with perfectionism. He does not use these topics because they are true. He uses them because they work. They are the buttons that guarantee the quickest release of adrenaline. In this first part, I want you to change your relationship with suffering. Stop seeing your anxiety as a personal flaw. Look at it as a mugging. Someone has entered your system and is stealing your vital energy at gunpoint, thought point. And the only way to stop the mugging is not to negotiate with the thief. Please don't rob me, but to stop carrying money in your pockets. You have to stop generating the emotional reaction he seeks. But how do you do that? How do you not react when you are told something terrible? It requires training. It requires learning to see the hook without biting it. In the second part, we will analyze the cycle of emotional addiction, and I will teach you how to identify the triggers before the chemical reaction becomes unstoppable. Breaking the cycle: identify, pause, and neutralize. The squatter's feeding process always follows the same 3-step pattern. If you manage to intervene in any of these steps, you leave him without dinner. The vampire cycle. 1. The trigger, the bait, the negative thought or intrusive image. Everything is going to go wrong. 2. The interpretation, the bite. You validate the thought, you believe it, you say, it's true, I am in danger. 3. The reaction, the feast. Your body releases cortisol. You feel bad. The squatter feeds and becomes strong enough to launch another worse thought. Most people try to fight in step 1. They try to not have negative thoughts. That is impossible. It is like trying to stop the rain. Thoughts arise automatically. The squatter has the key to the megaphone. Your power lies in step 2. Your freedom is in the small space of time between the thought and your emotional reaction. Viktor Frankl said it best. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Your mission is to widen that space. When the squatter throws the bait, your job is not to prevent him from throwing it, but to look at it and not bite. For not biting the hook. The million-dollar question, fact validation. The squatter thrives on vagueness and exaggeration. You are a disaster. You'll never make it. When you hear that, stop and ask him a direct question, as if you were a lawyer in a trial. Where is the evidence? Defend itself. Squatter, you're going to be fired. You. Do I have any real evidence of that? Did the boss say anything to me? Did I make a serious mistake today? No. Then it is speculation. I'm not biting. By asking for proof, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the logical part of the brain, and think logically at the same time. By activating logic, you deactivate the amygdala, the fear center. You cut off the chemical faucet, labeling the intention, spoiling the trick. Just as in the previous chapter we labeled the character, it's the critic, now we are going to label his intention. When a thought designed to anger or frighten you arises, say out loud or mentally, I see. You are trying to get cortisol out of me. You are trying to make me mad at my partner to eat a little adrenaline. You are trying to make me feel guilty to eat a little heaviness. Strategy, you just want to get high on my stress. The thought loses its power of truth. It becomes ridiculous. You imagine the squatter as a desperate addict looking for his fix, instead of as a moral authority. That gives you superiority. Radical indifference, the so what. This is the technique for black belts. Sometimes the squatter threatens you with things that could be true. Squatter, you are getting old. You, so what? Squatter, you could end up alone. You, so what? I'll have a good time alone. Squatter, this project might fail. You, well, if it fails, I'll do another one. So what? Teflon shield. The squatter seeks resistance. He wants you to say, no, please don't let that happen. If you shrug and accept the worst-case scenario calmly, you take away his ammunition. If it doesn't scare you, there is no cortisol. If there is no cortisol, there is no food. When you start doing this, the squatter is going to get aggressive. He is a hungry parasite. If you cut off his usual food, the daily fear, he is not going to leave quietly. He will try to provoke a major crisis. He will launch darker, noisier, crueler thoughts at you. He will try to create real fights in your life. Burst. It is like a child who cries louder just before giving up and falling asleep. When this happens, do not panic. Celebrate it. It means your strategy is working. It means he is desperate. Maintain calm. Maintain the hunger strike. If you withstand this final attack without reacting, his power will collapse. He will become so weak that his voice will go from a shout to a distant whisper in the background. The intruder does not seek truth. He seeks your biological reaction, stress. Don't believe the content. Look at the intention. You cannot stop the thought, but you can stop the emotion if you don't believe it. Weakness. If you stop reacting, the squatter loses strength and size. And what he eats, you have cut off his daily supply, but one question still remains. How did he get in the first place? To ensure he doesn't get back in once we evict him, we have to find the crack in the wall. We have to go to the origin. Chapter 3. The origin of the invasion, trauma as the door. The Trojan horse. The night you left the door open. We have reached the moment of truth. We know you have an intruder in your head. We know he steals chemical energy from you. But the question that gnaws at you, if you are honest, is, why me? Why is my mind a hell and others seem like a paradise? Was I born broken? The answer is a resounding no. No one is born with a squatter intruder. Look at a baby. A baby cries if he is hungry, but he doesn't criticize himself. He doesn't think, I'm a bad baby for crying, mother won't love me. A baby is pure presence, pure acceptance, pure dignity. Your original mind was a clean, bright house empty of judgment. So how did the parasite get in? He didn't enter by force. He didn't break the window. He got in because you opened the door for him, and you did it because at that moment you thought he was your savior. The squatter intruder is a Trojan horse. To understand this, we have to travel to the past. We have to go back to that moment, perhaps when you were 5, 7, or 10 years old, when the world stopped being safe. Imagine the scene. You are small. You are vulnerable. Your survival depends totally on the adults around you. parents, teachers. And suddenly something happens. Perhaps your father screams at you with excessive fury because you spilled the milk. Perhaps your mother looks at you with glacial coldness because you got a bad grade. Perhaps your classmates laugh at you during recess because you are wearing different clothes. In that instant, you feel a visceral terror, the terror of disconnection. For a child, the rejection of the tribe, family, is equivalent to death. If they don't love me, they won't take care of me. If they don't take care of me, I die. Your panicked child brain searches for a desperate solution to prevent that from ever happening again. It needs a strategy to ensure you are never caught off guard again, that you never make a mistake again that provokes rejection. And in the middle of that terror, a voice appears. It is not your voice, it is a new adult harsh voice. The voice tells you, calm down, I'll take care of it. From now on, I will watch over you. I will criticize you before they do. I will scare you before they scare you. If I am cruel to you, I will force you to be perfect, and then they will love you. And you, the scared child, accept the deal. You give the keys to the house to the critic master. You tell him, please protect me. Tell me everything I do wrong so I can correct it and be worthy of love. The squatter intruder did not enter as an enemy. He entered as a bodyguard. His original intention was noble, to protect you from the pain of rejection. The mechanism is preventive self-criticism. If you are about to start singing and the squatter shouts, shut up, you sing horribly. You shut up. And by shutting up, you avoid others laughing at you. The squatter saved you from public shame. If you're about to ask for something and the squatter tells you, you don't deserve it, don't bother, you don't ask. And by not asking, you avoid the pain of being told no. The squatter saved you from rejection. For years, this system worked. You survived your childhood thanks to him. You learned the rules, you became compliant or perfectionistic or invisible, whatever was necessary to be safe in your dysfunctional family. The problem is that the war ended 30 years ago. You are no longer that helpless child. You no longer live with those critical parents, or if you do, you no longer depend on them for food. You have resources. You are an adult. But no one warned the bodyguard. No one told him the war was over. So he continues patrolling the hallways of your mind with his rifle loaded, shooting at anything that moves. He shoots at your dreams. It's dangerous. He shoots at your joy. Don't laugh so much, you'll cry later. He shoots at your confidence. Who do you think you are? What was once a defense mechanism has become an autoimmune disease. Your security system is attacking you because it cannot distinguish between a predator, a real lion, and an opportunity, a new job. To the squatter, everything new is dangerous. In this first part, I want you to feel something very difficult. Gratitude for your executioner. That voice you hate so much, that anxiety that paralyzes you, was born out of love for you. It was born to save your emotional life at a time when you had no other tools. The squatter is not a monster. He is a traumatized soldier who does not know how to hang up his uniform. If you try to evict him with hate, go away, you bastard, he will barricade himself even harder because he will think, see how you attack yourself? You need me to protect you from your own anger. For the eviction to work, you first have to understand the function he served. You have to recognize that in his twisted logic, he believes he is doing you a favor. But understanding does not mean allowing him to stay. A bodyguard who hits his client so they won't go out because it's dangerous outside is no longer a bodyguard. He is a kidnapper. It's time to terminate the contract. But to do that, we have to go to the file. We have to find the original contract you signed in blood when you were a child. In the second part, we will take a trip back in time. We are going to locate the exact moment of the invasion, and we are going to have a serious conversation with that child who opened the door. The betrayal of the protector, rescinding the childhood contract. We have discovered the secret. The squatter is a former employee who refuses to retire. But why does he have so much power? Why, even though you, the rational adult, want to be happy, does he, the irrational fear, always win? Because the contract you signed is recorded in the deepest part of your brain, the limbic system, emotional brain. The contract says, if I obey fear, I survive. If I ignore fear, I die. To your primitive brain, the squatter is God. He is the ultimate security authority. Challenging the squatter feels, biologically, like jumping out of a plane without a parachute. That's why you get anxious when you try to change. Your body screams, "Don't leave the comfort zone, you're going to be eaten." But here is the trap, the great betrayal. The squatter promised security, but he gave you slavery. He promised that if you were perfect, they would love you. You strived to be perfect, you became exhausted, and you still feel alone. He promised that if you worried a lot, you would avoid problems. You have worried for years and problems have arrived anyway, but they caught you tired. The squatter's strategy is flawed. Self-criticism does not make you a better person. It makes you insecure and robs you of the energy to improve. Worrying does not prevent catastrophes. It only robs you of the peace of the present. The bodyguard has become incompetent. He is collecting a millionaire salary, your happiness, for a service that doesn't work. It is time to update the software. You have to prove to your brain that the rules of 1990 no longer apply in 2025. You have to prove to him that you are now capable of defending yourself alone, without the heavy armor of neurosis. The contract rescission protocol. We are going to do an active visualization exercise. This is not passive meditation, it is psychic surgery. You need a quiet place. Step 1. Locate the child gatekeeper. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Bring to your mind a recent situation where the squatter attacked you hard. A situation where you felt small, guilty, or scared. Feel that emotion in your body. Now, ask yourself, how old am I when I feel this way? Don't think about it. Let a number arise. 5 years old? 8 years old? That is the age of the inner child holding the door open for the squatter. Visualize that child. Look at him. Where is he? In his room? At school? Look him in the eyes. He is terrified. He believes that if he lets go of the squatter, something terrible will happen. Step 2. The interview with the employee. Now visualize the squatter, give him a form. He doesn't have to be human. He can be a shadow, a cartoon monster, a black cloud, or even look like one of your parents. Ask the squatter, mentally, "What is your job here?" Listen to his response. He will probably say, "To keep you from making a fool of yourself, to make sure you don't get hurt, to make you good." Tell him, "Thank you. I see that you were trying to help. I see that you worked very hard for that child to survive." Validate his effort. Feel his aggressive energy soften a little upon being recognized. Step 3. The reality update. Now stand up in your visualization. Make yourself big. Become the adult you are today. Stand between the child and the squatter. Act as a shield. Tell the squatter, "Thank you for your services, but the child has grown up. I am the adult now. I pay the bills. I drive the car. I know how to defend myself. Your strategy of fear and criticism is no longer necessary. It is obsolete. You are fired." And now turn toward the child. This is the key moment. The child will not let go of the squatter unless he trusts you. Tell the child, "Listen to me. We are no longer in that house. We are no longer at that school. No one can hurt us like before because now you have me. I protect you. I take care of you. You don't need this monster to be safe. You can let go. Come with me." Hug him. Feel him relax. Feel him hand over the keys to you. The protector's grief. When you do this, you may feel sadness. It is the grief for the childhood security you are abandoning. Firing the squatter means assuming total responsibility for your life. It means that if you make a mistake, you made the mistake yourself. You can no longer blame the voice that told me not to do it. It is the price of freedom, risk. But it is a risk you can take because you are strong. Starting today, when the voice returns, and it will return because it has inertia, you will no longer see it as the truth. You will see it as an echo of the past. You will say, "Oh, it's the old bodyguard trying to scare me because he thinks I'm still 5 years old. Poor thing, he hasn't realized that I'm the boss now." And you will tell him firmly, but without hate, "Thank you, but no. I'm in charge today." Chapter summary. Traumatic origin. The squatter entered as a defense mechanism against childhood pain or fear. Positive intention. His original goal was to protect you from rejection or failure. Obsolescence. The strategy that saved you as a child is killing you as an adult. The adult in charge. Only you can relieve the squatter of his post by proving to your brain that you are now safe. Chapter 4. The Attention Strike, Starving Him Out. The Dialogue Trap. Why Arguing Weakens You. Welcome to the siege phase. You have already identified the squatter. You know he is not you. You know he entered when you were a child to protect you, but that he has now become a tyrant who feeds on your stress. You have symbolically rescinded his contract, but like any real squatter, he is not going to leave just because you handed him a piece of paper. He has entrenched himself. He has changed the locks on some rooms, and he is willing to make a lot of noise to stay. Your natural instinct, now that you know he is an enemy, is to fight. You want to yell at him to shut up. You want to debate with him. You want to prove to him logically that he is wrong. When he tells you, "You won't be able to handle this project," you reply furiously, "Of course I can. I've studied hard. Shut up." You spend hours in your head having endless oral trials, presenting evidence, defending your innocence against his accusations. I have to tell you something crucial. If you argue, you lose. It doesn't matter if you win the logical argument. The moment you sit down at the table to debate with the squatter, you have already given him what he wanted. You have given him your attention. Attention is the most valuable currency in the universe. It is pure energy. Where you put your attention, you put your life. The squatter has no energy source of his own. He has no battery. He is a parasite. To survive, he needs to plug into your power supply. Every time you answer him, every time you worry about what he says, every time you try to fix a negative thought, you are plugging in the cable. You are transferring gigawatts of your life force to him. Imagine the squatter is a small fire in the living room. Your thoughts of resistance, "I don't want to think this," and "go away," are gasoline. Your attempts to rationalize, let's analyze why I think this, are kindling. The more you interact with the fire, the bigger it gets. The only way to put out the fire is to remove the oxygen, and the oxygen of thoughts is your interest. The attention strike is a passive combat technique. It consists of radically withdrawing your emotional investment in the mental drama. It is not emptying your mind, that's impossible. It is not thinking positive, that's covering up garbage with glitter. It is treating the squatter as you would treat a madman shouting on a street corner. You see him, you hear him, but you don't stop to talk to him. You keep walking. The fundamental mistake you make is believing that thoughts are important just because they are in your head. You believe that if you think something, it means something. If I think my partner is cheating on me, it must be because my intuition is warning me. If I think I'm going to get sick, it must be a premonition. The squatter uses this superstition against you. He disguises himself as an urgent message, so you pay him attention. But 99% of your negative thoughts are spam. They are static noise generated by an overactive amygdala. They are junk emails telling you, "Enlarge your penis," or "You have won a prize." Do you open the spam email, read it carefully, get distressed, and reply to the sender explaining why you don't need to enlarge your penis? No. You delete it without reading. Or better yet, you mark it as not desired and don't even look at it. You have to learn to treat your intruder as a spam algorithm. The problem is you have an addiction to the content. You love the drama of your own mind. You love wallowing in "poor me." You love the adrenaline of fear of the future. The attention strike requires an iron discipline to become boring to your own parasite. If the squatter yells, "You're going to die alone," and you respond with a yawn and continue reading your book, the squatter panics. "What? Aren't you scared? Aren't you going to cry? But this is my best trick." And he will shout louder. And if you keep yawning, eventually the squatter will run out of energy. He will consume himself. In this first part, I want you to understand the physics of attention. Attention is a spotlight. What you illuminate comes to life. What you leave in the dark dies. You have been illuminating the monster for years, and that is why he is gigantic. Today we are going to turn off that spotlight. We are going to leave the squatter in the dark. But turning off the spotlight is difficult when the monster is dancing in front of you and throwing insults. It requires a specific technique for looking without seeing. In the second part, I will teach you the scene technique, like in WhatsApp, and the art of divided attention. You will learn to be present in the real world while letting the squatter talk alone in the background, until his voice becomes simple, irrelevant background noise, like street traffic. The scene technique, the art of radical indifference. We already know that fighting is feeding. Now we are going to practice active non-resistance. The goal is not for the thought to disappear. You don't control that. The goal is for the thought not to matter to you. Freedom is not having an empty mind. It is not caring what is in it. To execute the attention strike, we will use 3 tactical tools that dismantle the squatter's power. Tool 1. The scene technique, the WhatsApp scene. We all know that feeling of frustration when you send an important message to someone, you see the blue double check they've read it, and they don't reply. You feel ignored, you feel powerless. Your message has fallen into the void. That is exactly what we are going to do to the squatter. When an intrusive or painful thought arises, read it. Acknowledge it's there. Thought that I am a fraud. Do not reply. Do not debate. Do not justify. Do not try to change it for a positive one. Leave it on read. Immediately return to what you were doing with your hands or your eyes in the physical world. Imagine your mind is a toxic WhatsApp group. You cannot leave the group, but you can mute the notifications and stop replying. The squatter will say, "Hey, I'm talking to you. You're a failure." You, mentally, blue double check. Silence. Squatter, "If you don't listen to me, you'll go broke." You, blue double check. Silence. "I keep chopping onions." This technique cuts off his oxygen. At first, the squatter will get angry. Extinction burst. But if you maintain the scene for 3 days, his volume will drop by 80%. He will learn that sending messages no longer generates a reward. Tool 2. Divided attention, the sensory anchor. It is very difficult to ignore a thought if you don't have anything else to focus on. Mental void is dangerous because the squatter fills it quickly. You have to shift your attention from the internal channel, mind, to the external channel, senses. When the attack begins, use the 5-5-5 rule. Mentally name 5 things you see, 5 things you hear, 5 things you feel, touch. I see a lamp, I see the table, I hear the traffic, I hear the refrigerator. I feel my feet on the floor, I feel my clothes. By forcing your brain to process raw sensory data, you steal bandwidth from the squatter. The brain cannot intensely process the outside and the inside at the same time. It's a seesaw. If you turn up the volume of the senses, you turn down the volume of thought. This doesn't eliminate the thought, but it turns it into background noise. You move it to the background. You tell the squatter, "You can stay there shouting if you want, but I'm busy feeling the texture of this table." Tool 3, the junk radio label. Sometimes the squatter gets very tiresome and repetitive with a topic, for example, jealousy or hypochondria. Instead of getting scared, name the station. Say, "Wow, looks like we're tuned to Jealousy Radio FM today. Same old song. How boring." Treat the thought as if it were a bad reggaeton song playing in the taxi. You don't like the song. It bothers you. But you don't try to break the taxi driver's radio. You don't start crying because the song is playing. You simply accept that there is unpleasant ambient noise and focus on looking out the window. The key attitude is disdain. Treat the squatter with superiority. How tiresome you are. Don't you have any new material? When you ridicule the monster, it stops being scary. Humor is the universal solvent of the ego. The coherence challenge. The difficult part of the attention strike is maintaining it when the squatter touches your sacred topics. We all have a topic where we lose objectivity. For some, it's money. For others, the health of their children. When the squatter touches that topic, your impulse to bite the hook will be brutal. You will feel that you have to think about it to solve it. I have to worry about this because it's serious. Remember, worrying is not dealing with the issue. Rumination is not resolution. Rumination is going in circles. Resolution is taking linear action. If you can do something now, call the doctor, pay the bill. Do it. That is action. If you can't do anything now, because it's night or it doesn't depend on you, and you keep thinking that is feeding the parasite, apply the strike. I can't do anything now. Blue double check. We'll deal with it tomorrow. The uncomfortable silence. As you apply this, you will notice something strange. Your mind will become quieter, and at first that silence will scare you. We are so used to drama that peace seems boring or suspicious. The squatter will try to tempt you. Hey, it's so quiet. Are you sure we haven't forgotten something? Are you sure we're safe? Don't fall for it. Enjoy the silence. Occupy that space with things you like, music, hobbies, presents. You are reclaiming your house room by room. The living room is quieter now. The kitchen is starting to be yours. Chapter 5. The Interruption Protocol, Breaking the Loop. The Handbrake. Why you can't think your way out of thinking. Welcome to the emergency room. In the previous chapter, we learned to starve the squatter with indifference. That is the long-term strategy. But what happens when the strategy fails? What happens when the thought is not a simple knock-knock at the door, but a battering ram knocking it down? What happens when before you realize it you are already on the floor, heart pounding, hyperventilating, and convinced that the world is ending? In that moment, indifference is impossible. You cannot ignore someone who is strangling you. You have entered what we call the hijack loop. Your amygdala, the fear center, has taken complete control of the brain and shut down the prefrontal cortex, logic. Trying to reason with your anxiety in this state is like trying to put out a fire by reading the fire extinguisher manual while you burn. It's useless. You cannot use the mind to get out of the mind because the mind is the problem. You need something faster than thought. You need something more brutal. You need a biological handbrake. In behavioral psychology, this is called a pattern interrupt. Imagine a scratched vinyl record. The needle gets stuck in the same groove, repeating the same horrible note over and over. He's going to leave you, he's going to leave you, he's going to leave you. You can yell at the record player. You can politely ask it to stop, it won't work. The physical inertia of the needle is too strong. The only way to stop the sound is to hit the table. The physical impact makes the needle jump. The sound stops abruptly. Silence falls. And in that silence, you can put on the music you want. The interruption protocol consists of hitting the table of your nervous system. You have to surprise your body. You have to do something so unexpected, so physical or so absurd that your brain is forced to let go of the obsessive thought to process the new stimulus. The squatter counts on your passivity. He counts on you staying still on the couch, paralyzed by fear, ruminating. Paralysis feeds the loop. When you move, when you radically change your physiology, you cut off his power. In this first part, I want you to understand that anxiety is not a state of being. It is a physical event. It is an electrical storm in your nerves. And like any physical event, it can be altered with physics. You don't need to understand your trauma to stop a panic attack. You need cold water and movement. Stop looking for the why. Why do I feel this way? And focus on the how. How do I get out of here right now? The squatter hates interruptions. He hates having his script changed. He is in the middle of his dramatic Shakespeare monologue, and you are going to enter the stage dressed as a clown playing a trumpet. You ruin his drama. You break the spell. And when the spell is broken, you regain command. In the second part, I am going to give you your somatic arsenal. These are 5 emergency tools you should always carry with you. They are not subtle. They are not spiritual. They are dirty tricks for fighting dirty against an enemy that doesn't respect the rules. You will learn to use ice shaking and ridicule to reset your brain in under 90 seconds. The somatic arsenal, weapons of massive distraction. You already know that you cannot negotiate with a terrorist who has his finger on the detonator. You have to tackle him. Here are the 5 most effective neural tackling techniques. Memorize them. When you are in the loop, you will not have the capacity to think, so you have to act on instinct. Weapon 1. The thermal shock, the dive reflex. This is the queen technique for anxiety attacks or uncontrollable anger. Your body has an evolutionary reflex called the mammalian dive reflex. When your face comes into contact with very cold water, your brain thinks we are underwater, we must conserve oxygen. Immediately it slows your heart rate. It lowers blood pressure. It redirects blood from the limbs to the brain and heart. Physically, it forces you to calm down. It is not optional. It is a hard biological reflex. How to do it? Go to the bathroom or the kitchen. Fill a bowl with ice water and ice, or just very cold water from the tap. Put your face in, or splash your face hard, and hold your breath for 15-30 seconds. If you can't get wet, take an ice cube and squeeze it in your hand until it hurts a little, or put it on the back of your neck. The shock of the cold is so intense that the brain has to let go of the negative thought, "I'm going to die," to process the new signal, cold. The needle jumps off the record. The loop is broken. You have a 5-minute window of lucidity. Use it to leave the situation or call someone. Weapon 2. Neurogenic shaking, shaking the dog. Have you ever seen a dog after a fight or a fright? Does it go to therapy to talk about it? No. The dog shakes itself. It trembles violently from head to tail for a few seconds. By doing this, it discharges the excess adrenaline accumulated in the muscles. It resets its nervous system and goes about its day as if nothing happened. Humans, through education, have suppressed this instinct. We remain rigid. We swallow the fear. And the fear gets trapped in the muscles, vibrating. How to do it? Stand up. Start bouncing on your heels. Shake your hands as if you had water and wanted to dry them. Shake your shoulders, head and legs. Do it forcefully. Do it wildly. Make sounds if you want. Bah! Do it for 60 seconds. Chaotic movement prevents the squatter from maintaining his linear narrative. You cannot be depressed and dancing like a maniac at the same time. The bodily posture of depression, slumped shoulders, stillness, is incompatible with shaking. By shaking yourself, you throw the squatter off the couch. Weapon 3. The writing vomit. Rapid draining. Sometimes the loop is mental. The words are going 1,000 miles an hour. The squatter is shouting a list of tasks, dangers, and guilts at you. If you try to organize it, you get overwhelmed. You have to get it out. How to do it? Take a paper and a pen, better than a phone. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Write non-stop. Don't think. Don't lift the pen. Write exactly what the voice is saying. "You're stupid, you won't make it, I hate this, I want to leave, I'm scared." If you don't know what to write, write, "I don't know what to write, until something else comes out. When the alarm sounds, stop, tear up the paper and throw it away. By externalizing the discourse, you take it out of the echo chamber of your skull. You see it on the paper, and often you realize how ridiculous or exaggerated it is. You have emptied the trash. Now there is space. Weapon 4. The absurd interruption, the ridiculous sound. The squatter feeds on your seriousness. Fear is very serious. Drama is very solemn. The best way to deactivate seriousness is ridicule. When you catch yourself in a spiral of self-criticism, "I'm the worst, everything goes wrong for me," do this. Say the word banana, or any absurd word out loud shouting. Or make a cartoon noise, bowing. Or sing your negative thought to the tune of Happy Birthday. "I am a failure, I am a failure." It is impossible to maintain existential terror while singing Happy Birthday. Your brain short-circuits. The emotion changes from fear to confusion or laughter, and laughter is poison for the parasite. If you laugh at him, he loses his power. Weapon 5. The physiological sigh, the respiratory reset. If you are in a public place and cannot splash your face or yell banana, use the hidden technology in your lungs. Dr. Andrew Huberman popularized this technique, but the body has known it forever. It is the fastest way to lower your heart rate in real time. How to do it? Inhale deeply through your nose. When you think you are full, take a second short, quick inhalation through your nose to open collapsed alveoli. Exhale very slowly and lengthily through your mouth, as if blowing through a straw. Repeat it 3 times. This specific sequence, double inhalation, long exhalation, mechanically activates the vagus nerve and tells the heart, slow down. You take away the physical substrate of anxiety. The squatter can keep shouting, but your body no longer accompanies him with tachycardia. And without tachycardia, the fear does not feel real. The 5-4-3-2-1 rule, Mel Robbins' rocket. To activate any of these weapons, you have to overcome the inertia of paralysis. When you are feeling bad, you don't want to move. The squatter tells you, stay here suffering, it's safer. You have a 5-second window before your brain rationalizes inaction. As soon as you detect the loop, count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And move. Get up, go to the bathroom. The countdown distracts the prefrontal cortex and the go is an action trigger. Launch yourself into the cold water as if you were a rocket. Don't think about it. Do it. Chapter summary. Don't think, act. In a crisis, logic doesn't work. Use the body. Break the pattern. Do something abrupt, cold or noisy to skip the needle on the scratched record. Shake it off. Release trapped animal energy. Ridicule. Sing your drama to take away its gravity. Breathe. The physiological sigh is your natural anxiolytic. Chapter 6. Drama Fast, Closing the Supermarket. The supply chain buying poison in bulk. Welcome to customs inspection. Until now, we have treated the squatter as if he were a purely internal problem. We have assumed that he generates the negative thoughts from inside your head, and it's true, he has his own fear factory. But there is an uncomfortable truth we must face. The squatter is not self-sufficient. To maintain his level of terror and drama at maximum power, he needs raw materials, he needs fresh fuel, and you, without realizing it, have become his procurement manager. Imagine you are trying to put a child addicted to sugar on a diet. You forbid him from eating sweets at home, you hide the cookies, but every afternoon you take him to a candy store, give him your credit card and tell him, "Here, buy whatever you want, but don't eat it." It's absurd, right? However, that is exactly what you do with your mind every time you turn on the news, go on Twitter, X, or call that friend who only complains. You are voluntarily entering the drama supermarket. You are filling the cart of your consciousness with stories of murders, corruption, economic crises, viral injustices, and toxic gossip. You get home, dump that mental trash in the living room of your mind, and tell the squatter, "Look what I brought you, look how dangerous the world is, look how bad people are." And the squatter feasts. He takes that tragic news you saw on Facebook and turns it into a personal threat against you. He takes that gossip about a celebrity's infidelity and turns it into suspicion about your own partner. He takes that economic statistic and turns it into a prophecy of your ruin. You give him the bricks, he builds the jail. Why do we do this? Why, if we want to be happy, do we consume content that makes us miserable? Because we are addicted to negative dopamine. Your primitive brain is designed to prioritize danger. If there's a car accident on the road, everyone slows down to look. It's not morbid curiosity, it's a survival instinct. Your brain thinks, if I see the danger, I can avoid it. The squatter hacks this instinct. He tells you, you have to be informed. If you don't watch the news, you are irresponsible. If you don't know what's happening, you'll be caught off guard. It's a lie. Being informed is not the same as being intoxicated. Knowing there is a war is information. Watching endless videos of people suffering for 3 hours is not information. It is emotional pornography. It is vicarious traumatization. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the victims. And it only fattens your parasite. Every time you consume external drama, you are raising the alert level of your nervous system. You are injecting cortisol into your bloodstream without there being a real threat in your room. You are creating such loud background noise that it is impossible to hear your own intuition. And worst of all, you are normalizing negativity. If you spend 4 hours a day watching people fight on social media, your brain assumes that fighting is normal, and when your squatter incites you to fight with your partner, it will seem like the right thing to do. In this first part, I want you to realize that you are the gatekeeper of your mind. No one can put trash in your head without your permission. You have the remote control. You have the finger that scrolls. You are not a victim of the world's negativity. You are a willing consumer of it. If you want to evict the intruder, you have to cut off his external supplies. You have to close the supermarket. You have to put your mind on a strict diet. You cannot expect to have thoughts of peace if you feed your brain with images of war. It is basic biology. Garbage in, garbage out. In the second part, I will give you the hypotoxic detox plan. It is a 7-day protocol designed to purge your system of the drama addiction. I warn you, you are going to have withdrawal symptoms. You are going to be bored. You are going to feel like you are missing out, FOMO. But on the other side of that boredom, you will find something you may not have felt in years, real silence. The hypotoxic diet 7-day protocol. We are going to turn off the faucet. For 1 week, you are going to undergo a fast from junk information. The goal is not to live in a cave forever, but to reset your dopamine receptors and prove to the squatter that free feasts are over. Here are the 4 rules of the drama fast. They are strict, but they are temporary. At first, Rule 1, zero news, the information blackout. For 7 days you will not watch, read, or listen to the news. Nothing. No newscasts, no digital newspapers, no car radio. Your mind will shout, "But I have to know what's going on in the world." Calm down. If World War III breaks out, you will find out. Someone will tell you. The important things will reach you. What you are missing is the noise, the speculation, and the manufactured fear. The world will continue to spin without you monitoring it. Your anxiety does not help the planet. It only destroys you. Effect: you will lower your basal cortisol level by 30% in 2 days. Rule 2, the network purge, algorithm cleansing. Enter your social media with a sniper mentality. Scroll. Every time you see a post that generates envy, fake perfect lives, anger, politics, indignation, fear, conspiracy theories, catastrophes, inferiority, unattainable bodies, unfollow or mute the account ruthlessly. If it's your brother-in-law, mute him. If it's a famous influencer, delete him. Your feed must become a sanctuary. It should only contain things that teach you, make you laugh, or inspire you. If it doesn't add, it subtracts. During these 7 days, limit your use to 15 minutes a day. Set a timer. Infinite scrolling is the squatter's heroin. Rule 3, the complaint embargo, clean conversations. This is the most difficult one because it involves other people. Most of our social conversations are complaining competitions. Everything is so bad. It's so hot. My boss is so stupid. It is a ritual of toxic bonding. For 7 days, you are forbidden to complain. If your back hurts, take a pill, but don't tell 3 people to receive sympathy. If traffic is horrible, play music, but don't arrive at work cursing. And here comes the tough part. Do not listen to complaints from others. If a friend starts vomiting their usual drama about how bad their life is, with no intention of solving it, just to complain, cut them off politely. Use the positive bridge technique. Wow, that sounds tough. Hey, how is positive topic going for you? If they insist on complaining, say, "Sorry, my head is really full today and I can't listen to problems. Shall we talk about something else?" If they get angry, let them be angry. You are protecting your house. You are not an emotional dumpster. Rule 4, the deliberate soundtrack. Absolute silence at first can be terrifying because you hear the squatter shouting louder, the withdrawal syndrome. To combat this, substitute toxic noise with nourishing noise. Instead of news, put on audiobooks, like this one. Instead of sad reggaeton, play music that gives you energy or instrumental peace. Instead of murder series before bed, read light fiction or watch nature documentaries. You are redecorating your mind. You are replacing the horror paintings with landscapes. The detox symptoms. Around day 3, you will feel boredom. Your brain is accustomed to high peaks of stimulation, indignation, fear, shock. Peace will seem bland. The squatter will tell you, "This is so boring. Look at your phone for a bit. Just one headline. We need to know what happened." Do not give in. That boredom is healing. It is your nervous system distressing. If you endure the boredom, on the other side, you will find creativity and presence. You will start to notice the taste of food. You will start to have your own ideas instead of repeating the opinions of others. The final result. At the end of the week, you will feel lighter. You will feel like you have more time. And curiously, you will notice that the squatter intruder is quieter. Since you haven't given him external gasoline, he is weak. His arguments no longer have so much force because they don't have recent evidence from the news to support them. You have taken away his ammunition. Chapter 7, the eviction notice, the decree. The language of authority, why your mind doesn't obey your pleas. We have reached the turning point. You have identified the squatter, understood his traumatic origin, stopped feeding him with your attention, and cut off his supply of external drama. He is weak. He is hungry. His voice, which was once a constant shout, is now an annoying murmur. But he is still there. He is still occupying a room down the hall. He is still trying to whisper fears under the door. He is still waiting for you to drop your guard to regain control. To evict him permanently, ignoring him is not enough. You have to order him to leave. And this is where most people fail miserably. They fail because they don't know how to speak the language that the subconscious respects. Let's analyze how you talk to yourself when you want to change something. You say things like, "I wish I would stop being afraid. I'm going to try not to think about this. Please, mind, let me sleep. I would like to be more confident." Notice the tone. It is a tone of supplication, desire, or attempt. It is the tone of a victim negotiating with their executioner. It is the tone of a child asking permission from an adult. When you use this soft, hesitant, and conditional tone, your subconscious, which is the operating system of the house, does not recognize you as the owner. It sees you as another guest. And when in doubt, it continues to obey the squatter, because the squatter does speak with authority, even if it's an authority based on fear. The squatter doesn't say, "I wish you would be scared." He says, "You are going to die." The squatter doesn't say, "I'm going to try to criticize you." He says, "You are trash." The squatter uses the imperative. He uses decrees, he uses firm sentences, and your nervous system obeys whoever shouts the clearest order. To reclaim your house, you have to learn to use the voice of command. You have to write and execute the eviction notice. This is not positive thinking. Positive thinking, everything will be fine, is soft. The decree is hard. It is martial. It is definitive. The decree does not seek to convince the squatter. It seeks to annul him. It is not a debate. It is a court sentence. Imagine an army general giving an order to his troops. Does he say, "Guys, if you feel like it, you could advance"? No. He says, "Advance," and the soldiers' legs move before their brains process it. That is the kind of authority you need to project toward your own psyche. Your subconscious mind is like a large, powerful dog. If the owner shows insecurity, the dog takes command to protect the pack, becomes aggressive, anxious. If the owner is firm, calm, and dominant, the dog relaxes and obeys. Your anxiety is simply your subconscious mind taking over, because it does not feel there is a captain at the wheel. The squatter is filling the power vacuum that you left. In this first part, I want you to understand that being kind to yourself does not mean being weak with your demons. Self-compassion towards your wounded child is vital, but self-authority towards the parasite is equally vital. You have to learn to say enough with a vibration such that your own cells tremble and align. The decree is a psychomagical act. It is the moment when you plant your flag in the ground of your mind and say, "This territory is mine, and what I say goes here." When you do this with total conviction, without a shred of doubt, the squatter shrinks. Because deep down he knows he is a fraud. He knows he only has borrowed power. And when the legitimate owner returns home and turns on the light, the shadows have nowhere to hide. In the second part, we are going to write your decree. I will teach you the exact linguistic structure that deactivates fear. I will teach you to use your physical voice and your body posture to hack your nervous system and emit the administrative silence order that your mind has been waiting years to receive. Executing the order, the sovereign decree protocol. We already understand the theory. The subconscious obeys authority. Now let's get to practice. How do you issue an effective eviction decree? Thinking it weakly is not enough. It has to be a neurological event. The decree protocol has 3 phases: physiology, voice, and sentence. Phase 1, the king-queen posture, physiology. You cannot give a command hunched up on the sofa. Your body has to communicate power before your mouth opens. Stand up. Separate your feet shoulder-width apart, grounding. Straighten your spine. Stick your chest out. Lift your chin slightly. Breathe deeply, filling your diaphragm. This posture tells your primitive brain, we are not running, we are attacking, we are in charge. The squatter hates this posture. He prefers you to be curled up in a ball. By stretching out, you take away his physical space. Phase 2, the command tone, voice. The vibration of your voice is crucial. If you say enough with a high-pitched or shaky voice, the subconscious hears fear. You have to use your chest voice, a low, resonant, and dry voice. You don't need to shout. Shouting sometimes denotes hysteria. What you need is cold firmness. Imagine you are a police officer telling an intruder, "Hands up." There is no emotion, there is law. Phase 3, the sentence, the verbal decree. Now you are going to verbalize the order. When the squatter starts his loop, You're going to fail, they're going to leave you. You are going to interrupt him physically with a loud clap or a slam on the table, and you are going to say one of these annulment commands. Command 1, the nuclear enough. It is simple but devastating. As soon as you detect the parasitic thought, say out loud, enough, or silence. But say it with the intention of cutting a cable with an axe. Visualize that your word is a guillotine falling on the thought and decapitating it. After the enough, remain in absolute silence, listening to the void you have created. That silence is your victory. Occupy that silence with your presence. Command 2, the permission revocation. This one is more legalistic. It serves for recurrent patterns. Tell the squatter, I revoke your permission to speak. I do not believe you. I do not need you. You are fired. Say it looking at yourself in the mirror if you can. Look into your own eyes and reclaim them. Tell yourself, this is my mind. I decide what is thought here, and I decide that this is over. Command 3, the declaration of truth, the replacement. Once you have cut the negative thought, you have to immediately fill the gap with a sovereign truth, or the squatter will return. But do not use flower power affirmations. I am a butterfly of light. Use power affirmations. Squatter, you won't be capable. You enough, I am capable because I say so, period. The period is magical. It closes the discussion. It admits no reply. The non-negotiable exercise. To train this muscle, practice with small things. When the alarm clock rings and the squatter says 5 more minutes, say, no, up, and spring out of bed. When you're about to eat something you shouldn't, and the squatter says just 1, say, no, not today, and move away from it. Every time you obey your own order, your internal authority grows. Your subconscious begins to understand that when you speak, things happen. You are building a reputation with your own mind. If you always say, I'm going to the gym and never go, your word is worthless to your subconscious. The squatter laughs at you, but if you start fulfilling your small decrees, when the time comes to decree anxiety is over, your mind will believe and obey you. The final resistance, the tantrum. When you start using decrees, the squatter is going to try one last strategy. Rational seduction. He will tell you, in a soft voice, hey, there's no need to be like that. I was just trying to help. If you silence me, you'll become irresponsible. You need my worry to survive. It's a lie. Tell him, false. I can be responsible without being afraid. I can be prudent without being paranoid. I don't need you to survive. Get out. Do not negotiate. The eviction is unilateral. You don't ask him to leave. You inform him that he no longer lives here. Chapter summary. Stop pleading. Your mind does not respect weakness, it respects strength. Use the body, power posture, plus command voice, neural obedience. Short commands, enough, out, no. Credibility. Earn the respect of your subconscious by fulfilling your small daily orders. Chapter 8. Changing the lock, mental boundaries. The nightclub bouncer. Your mind is no longer a public place. Welcome to the new phase. You have done the dirty work. You have identified the squatter, starved him, and delivered the eviction notice with an authority you didn't know you possessed. The house is quiet for the first time in years. There is silence in the hallway. But if you look closely, you will notice a serious structural problem. The front door is still broken. You have been living with the enemy inside for so long that you have forgotten how to lock the door. Your mind has become a public square. Any thought that passes by on the street, a collective worry, a neighbor's comment, an old insecurity, enters your living room without knocking, sits on your sofa and puts its feet up on the table. You have what psychology calls porous boundaries. You believe that having a thought obligates you to entertain that thought. You believe that if something knocks on the door, it is polite to open it. It is time to change that policy. Your mind is not a public park, it is an exclusive private club. It is the most expensive penthouse in the city. And just anyone does not get into a luxury penthouse. You need to hire a nightclub bouncer. Imagine the typical bouncer at a trendy New York club. He is a huge, serious guy with dark glasses and a list in his hand. A thought arrives. Hey, I'm the thought that you are going to fail. The bouncer looks at it up and down. Are you on the list? Thought, no, but I always come. Bouncer. Not today. Get out of line. And he doesn't even open the velvet rope for it. Until today, your security filter was set to admit all. Your criterion was, if the thought appears, it must be important. Your new criterion, starting with this chapter, will be, if the thought does not pay rent, utility, or bring a gift, truth, it stays outside. This is called critical thinking applied to oneself. Most people are very critical of what others say, but they swallow any garbage their own mind tells them. If a stranger on the street shouted at you, "You are useless," you would think they were crazy and walk away. You wouldn't invite them to dinner. But if your mind tells you you are useless, you believe it. You serve it wine and you spend the night chatting with it. Why? Because you assume your mind is you. But we already saw in Chapter 1 that it is not. Your mind is a suggestion generator, and 90% of those suggestions are random garbage. Changing the lock means installing a micro-verification pause before accepting any thought as your own. It is a security delay. When a package arrives at your house, a thought, you don't open it and eat it immediately. First, you look at the label. Who sent it? Is it fear? Is it envy? Is it the past? Is it? If the sender is suspicious, the package remains in quarantine on the doormat. This process requires vigilance. At first, you will feel strange questioning your own head. Your mind will tell you, "But this is urgent. Worry." And you, from behind the armored door, will say, "Identify yourself. Do you have evidence? Do you bring a solution? If not, you don't pass." The squatter intruder will try to return. It's normal. He has old keys, your neural habits. He will try to sneak in through the window. But if you change the cylinder of the front door, if you change your standard of what is acceptable to think, his old keys will stop turning. He will stay outside, banging on the door in the rain until he gets tired and goes to bother someone else. In this first part, I want you to assume your new role. You are no longer the victim of the assault. You are the head of security. Your mind is your most valuable asset. It is the factory of your reality. Would you let just anyone enter a high-tech microchip factory and start touching buttons with dirty hands? No. Well, stop allowing dirty thoughts to touch your self-esteem. In the second part, I will give you the bouncer's instruction manual. I will teach you the 3 security filters that any thought must pass to get the all clear to enter. If it doesn't pass the 3 filters, access is denied. You will learn to interrogate your thoughts with the coldness of a prosecutor. The admission protocol, the 3 filters of Socrates. To secure the perimeter, we are going to install a state-of-the-art access control system. We are going to adapt the famous 3 filters of Socrates to modern psychological warfare. From now on, when an intrusive, painful, or anxious thought knocks on your door, you do not let it pass automatically. You force it to go through this 3-layer scanner. Filter 1. The truth filter, forensic evidence. The squatter is a pathological liar. His main weapon is exaggeration and catastrophe without evidence. When a thought like, "Everyone is laughing at you," or "You will never find a partner" arrives, stop. Ask it the prosecutor's question. Is this 100% true? Do I have undeniable proof that would hold up in court? Thought, everyone is laughing at you. Prosecution, everyone, all 8 billion people, or did only 2 people look at you strangely? Do you have a recording that they were laughing at you, or is that your assumption? If the answer is, it's an assumption, or I have no physical proof, the thought does not pass. You label it as ghost hypothesis and discard it. The reality is that 99% of our negative thoughts are speculations, not facts. If it is not a fact, like it is raining, it does not enter the house. Filter 2. The utility filter, radical pragmatism. Sometimes a thought might be true, but it is useless. For example, you are going to die someday. It is true. It passes filter 1. But does it help you to think about that on a Tuesday afternoon while you are trying to work? Here we apply the utility filter. Does thinking this right now help me solve something or make me feel better? Thought, the country's economy is terrible. It might be true. Prosecution. Can I fix the economy today? No. Does thinking about this give me energy to work? No. It takes it away. Is it useful for me to ruminate on it? No. Then it does not pass. It stays outside for operational irrelevance. Tell the thought, "Thank you for the data, but you are not useful to me. Come back when you bring an action plan." Your mind is a workspace, not a museum of misfortunes. Only useful tools enter. Filter 3, the kindness filter, the friend's law. This is the definitive filter for self-criticism. The squatter sometimes tells you useful truths. You need to lose weight. But he tells them to you with cruelty. You are fat and disgusting. The content may be valid, but the packaging is toxic. The question here is, would I say this with these exact words and tone to my best friend or a small child? Thought, you are stupid, you always mess up. Prosecution. Would I say this to my friend John if he made a mistake? No, I would say, wow, that went wrong, let's see how to fix it. If you wouldn't say it to a friend, you do not have permission to say it to yourself. The thought does not pass. Tell the squatter, rejected for inappropriate format. If you want to give me feedback, come back and say it with respect. I do not accept insults in this house. The quarantine mailbox aren't for persistent thoughts. There will be thoughts that are very insistent and seem important, real fears about money or health. If you try to block them, they will bang on the door. For these cases, create a quarantine mailbox. Tell the thought, okay, you seem urgent, but I'm busy living now. I'll give you an appointment for Saturday at 10 a.m. I promise I will sit down on Saturday and worry about this for 20 minutes. Until then, to the mailbox. Write it down on a piece of paper, worry about money, and store it in a drawer. This calms the primitive brain because you are not ignoring the threat, you are just scheduling it. The curious thing is that when Saturday at 10 arrives, you open the drawer and realize that 90% of those worries no longer matter to you or have resolved themselves. Time deflates the drama. The new normal, selective silence. When you install these 3 filters, something wonderful happens. Mental traffic decreases by 80%. Most of your habitual thoughts do not pass the screening. They are lies, they are useless, or they are cruel. By not letting them in, your mind becomes empty. But it is not an agonizing emptiness, it is a cleansing emptiness. It is like having a minimalist house with few but high-quality furnishings. Only thoughts like, I am going to do this well, what delicious food, I have to call mom, enter. Functional, kind, and true thoughts. By changing the lock, you have changed your destiny. Because your thoughts create your emotions and your emotions create your actions. If you filter the garbage at the entrance, your life becomes a high-quality product. Chapter 10, the new lease agreement, your higher self. The vacancy on the throne. Who is driving the car now? Welcome to the end of the renovation. If you look around, your mind is unrecognizable. Where there was garbage and shouting, there is now cleanliness and silence, thanks to the security filters. Where there was darkness and fear, there is now furniture of gratitude, awe, and pleasure. You have reclaimed the keys, you are the sovereign owner. But this leads us to a fundamental logistical question. Now that the squatter is gone, who lives here? An empty house, no matter how beautiful, is a waste. And as we saw in the previous chapter, emptiness is dangerous because nature tends to fill it. You as the witness consciousness, the observer, are the owner. But the owner is not always the one who manages the day-to-day. You are the one who supervises, but you need a tenant to bring the structure to life. You need an operational force that makes decisions, creates loves, and guides you through the world. Until now, the squatter did that job. He did it poorly, based on fear and survival, but he did it. He told you what to eat, what to say, who to flee from. He had the steering wheel. Now that you have fired him, the driver's seat is empty, and you may be tempted to say, I will drive, my small logical mind. But your logical mind is limited. It only knows the past. It can only calculate risks based on what it has already experienced. It is a safe but boring driver. There is another option. There is a VIP tenant who has been waiting on the waiting list for years, someone who knows the map of your life better than you, someone who is not afraid, someone who is creative, wise, and magnetic. Traditions call him by many names: your higher self, your intuition, your daemon, your genius, your soul. We will call him the new tenant. Inviting the new tenant is the final step of healing. It is moving from survival, avoiding pain, to expansion, creating life. The squatter was a noisy tyrant. He shouted orders at you. The new tenant is an elegant gentleman or lady. He never shouts, he never forces. He speaks in whispers. He speaks through gentle impulses, sudden ideas, sensations of certainty in your stomach. The problem is that because he doesn't shout, he is easy to ignore. For years, his voice was drowned out by the squatter's screams. Now that there is silence, you can finally hear him. Call that person. Write that book. Go this way. But fear arises here. Your ego, the squatter's cousin, will tell you, be careful. That new tenant is irresponsible. He wants you to take risks. He wants you to trust the unknown. If you listen to him, we will lose control. And it is true. Signing the contract with your higher self means giving up the control of fear to gain the power of flow. The squatter promised you security in exchange for freedom. He told you, if you don't leave the house, nothing bad will happen to you. The new tenant offers you adventure in exchange for trust. He tells you, leave the house. I don't know what will happen, but it will be amazing, and I will be with you. The fundamental difference between the two tenants is the source of their energy. The squatter operated with pressure. I have to do this, or I will die. The new tenant operates with inspiration. I want to do this because it comes naturally to me. Do you notice the physical difference? Pressure pushes from behind. You feel obligated. Inspiration pulls from ahead. You feel attracted. Living with the new tenant is living in what athletes call the zone, or the state of flow. Things cease to be difficult. Coincidences happen. Solutions appear before problems do. It is not magic. It is alignment. When your mind, the house, is inhabited by your true essence, the tenant, there is no friction. In this first part, I want you to visualize that vacancy. There is an empty throne in the center of your mind. For years, a scared monster who pretended to be king sat there. Now the throne is clean. Do not sit there yourself, your small, limited ego. Invite the biggest, noblest, and most luminous part of yourself to sit there. Tell it, the house is yours. You are in charge. I will serve you. This requires humility. It requires admitting that your intellect does not have all the answers, but in return it gives you a peace that the intellect cannot even imagine. In the second part, we are going to write the lease agreement. We are going to establish the clauses of this new relationship. How does the new tenant communicate? What does he ask of you in return? How do you know if it is him speaking or if the old squatter has put on a disguise? I will teach you to live guided by the compass of joy. The clauses of intuition. How to live in symbiosis. Signing the contract with your higher self is not a bureaucratic act. It is a lifestyle. It is a daily partnership. As in any cohabitation contract, there are rules. If you respect the rules, the new tenant stays and fills your life with magic. If you break them, he will become quiet and withdraw to his room. Although he never leaves entirely, you will stop hearing him. Here are the 4 clauses of the freedom contract. Clause 1. Daily listening. Receptive silence. The squatter woke you up with shouts. The new tenant waits for you to ask him. For the relationship to work, you have to schedule community meetings. Every morning before looking at your phone, before the world floods you with its urgencies, sit for 5 minutes in your newly furnished house. Close your eyes, breathe, and ask the new tenant the key question. What are we going to do today? What is the instruction? Do not look for a logical to-do list. Look for a sensation. Maybe an image comes. Call mom. Maybe a word. Calm. Maybe an impulse. Take the long way to work. That is the guidance for the day. If you don't listen, the tenant cannot guide you. Intuition is a station that broadcasts 24/7, but you have to turn on the radio. Clause 2. Quick obedience, blind trust. This is the hardest clause. When the new tenant gives you an instruction, you have to act. Often, the instruction will not make logical sense. Leave this party now. But I just arrived. Don't sign that contract, ma'am, but it looks perfect. Talk to that stranger. How embarrassing. If the tenant speaks and you start debating with your logic, but what about, Betty, what if? You are breaking the contract. You are insulting his wisdom. Remember, the squatter used logic, of fear. The new tenant uses vision, of the whole. He sees things you do not see. He sees that contract has a trap. He sees that stranger is your future partner. The rule is, if you feel the impulse, the ping, follow it in less than 5 seconds. If you hesitate, the ego enters. If you act, you confirm faith. The more you blindly obey your intuition, the stronger and clearer the signal becomes. It's a muscle. Clause 3. Payment in joy, the currency of exchange. The squatter collected payment in cortisol, stress. The new tenant collects payment in joy and enthusiasm. The sign that the new tenant is in charge is that you feel alive. If you are doing something and feel heaviness, dead boredom, or constant friction, it is an alarm signal. It means the squatter has slipped in, or you are acting from should. The new tenant guides you through play. He tells you, let's try this, it will be fun. He tells you, do it with love or don't do it at all. Your job is to monitor your level of joy. If it drops, call an emergency meeting. Tenant, what's wrong? Have we deviated? The answer will always be, yes, you stopped listening to me and started worrying. Return to center. Clause 4. The no guests policy, permanent vigilance. Just because you have signed with the higher self does not mean the squatter will not try to return. He is a toxic ex-boyfriend. He will call drunk at 3 a.m. He will say, hey, remember how much fun we had worrying together? Look at this new problem, it's very serious, only I can handle it. The new tenant is peaceful. He will not fight the squatter. He will look at you and wait to see what you do. If you open the door to the squatter, the new tenant withdraws to the back. They cannot coexist in the living room. The vibration is incompatible. You have to be the guardian of the contract. When the squatter calls, you have to tell him, I'm sorry, the room is occupied, love already lives here. There is no room for you. And close the door in his face. The result, life in high definition. When you honor this contract for a while, the texture of your life changes. You stop surviving and start living. Colors seem brighter. You have more physical energy because you don't spend it fighting yourself. People tell you, you look different. Your face is glowing. It is because no one is stealing your light anymore. The house is illuminated. The windows are open. The music is playing. You are, finally, the king of your own castle. You are no longer a dilapidated building occupied by fear. You are a temple inhabited by divinity. And from that temple, you can build anything you desire. Chapter 10, the new lease agreement, your higher self. The vacancy on the throne. Who is driving the car now? Welcome to the end of the renovation. If you look around, your mind is unrecognizable. Where there was garbage and shouting, there is now cleanliness and silence, thanks to the security filters. Where there was darkness and fear, there is now furniture of gratitude, awe, and pleasure. You have reclaimed the keys, you are the sovereign owner. But this leads us to a fundamental logistical question. Now that the squatter is gone, who lives here? An empty house, no matter how beautiful, is a waste. And as we saw in the previous chapter, emptiness is dangerous because nature tends to fill it. You, as the witness consciousness, the observer, are the owner. But the owner is not always the one who manages the day-to-day. You are the one who supervises, but you need a tenant to bring the structure to life. You need an operational force that makes decisions, creates loves, and guides you through the world. Until now, the squatter did that job. He did it poorly, based on fear and survival, but he did it. He told you what to eat, what to say, who to flee from. He had the steering wheel. Now that you have fired him, the driver's seat is empty, and you may be tempted to say, I will drive, my small logical mind. But your logical mind is limited. It only knows the past. It can only calculate risks based on what it has already experienced. It is a safe but boring driver. There is another option. There is a VIP tenant who has been waiting on the waiting list for years, someone who knows the map of your life better than you, someone who is not afraid, someone who is creative, wise, and magnetic. Traditions call him by many names: your higher self, your intuition, your daemon, your genius, your soul. We will call him the new tenant. Inviting the new tenant is the final step of healing. It is moving from survival, avoiding pain, to expansion, creating life. The squatter was a noisy tyrant. He shouted orders at you. The new tenant is an elegant gentleman or lady. He never shouts, he never forces. He speaks in whispers. He speaks through gentle impulses, sudden ideas, sensations of certainty in your stomach. The problem is that because he doesn't shout, he is easy to ignore. For years, his voice was drowned out by the squatter's screams. Now that there is silence, you can finally hear him. Call that person. Write that book. Go this way. But fear arises here. Your ego, the squatter's cousin, will tell you, be careful. That new tenant is irresponsible. He wants you to take risks. He wants you to trust the unknown. If you listen to him, we will lose control. And it is true. Signing the contract with your higher self means giving up the control of fear to gain the power of flow. The squatter promised you security in exchange for freedom. He told you, if you don't leave the house, nothing bad will happen to you. The new tenant offers you adventure in exchange for trust. He tells you, leave the house. I don't know what will happen, but it will be amazing, and I will be with you. The fundamental difference between the two tenants is the source of their energy. The squatter operated with pressure. I have to do this, or I will die. The new tenant operates with inspiration. I want to do this because it comes naturally to me. Do you notice the physical difference? Pressure pushes from behind. You feel obligated. Inspiration pulls from ahead. You feel attracted. Living with the new tenant is living in what athletes call the zone, or the state of flow. Things cease to be difficult. Coincidences happen. Solutions appear before problems do. It is not magic. It is alignment. When your mind, the house, is inhabited by your true essence, the tenant, there is no friction. In this first part, I want you to visualize that vacancy. There is an empty throne in the center of your mind. For years, a scared monster who pretended to be king sat there. Now the throne is clean. Do not sit there yourself, your small, limited ego. Invite the biggest, noblest, and most luminous part of yourself to sit there. Tell it, the house is yours. You are in charge. I will serve you. This requires humility. It requires admitting that your intellect does not have all the answers, but in return it gives you a peace that the intellect cannot even imagine. In the second part, we are going to write the lease agreement. We are going to establish the clauses of this new relationship. How does the new tenant communicate? What does he ask of you in return? How do you know if it is him speaking or if the old squatter has put on a disguise? I will teach you to live guided by the compass of joy. The clauses of intuition. How to live in symbiosis. Signing the contract with your higher self is not a bureaucratic act. It is a lifestyle. It is a daily partnership. As in any cohabitation contract, there are rules. If you respect the rules, the new tenant stays and fills your life with magic. If you break them, he will become quiet and withdraw to his room. Although he never leaves entirely, you will stop hearing him. Here are the 4 clauses of the freedom contract. Clause 1. Daily listening. Receptive silence. The squatter woke you up with shouts. The new tenant waits for you to ask him. For the relationship to work, you have to schedule community meetings. Every morning before looking at your phone, before the world floods you with its urgencies, sit for 5 minutes in your newly furnished house. Close your eyes, breathe, and ask the new tenant the key question. What are we going to do today? What is the instruction? Do not look for a logical to-do list. Look for a sensation. Maybe an image comes. Call mom. Maybe a word. Calm. Maybe an impulse. Take the long way to work. That is the guidance for the day. If you don't listen, the tenant cannot guide you. Intuition is a station that broadcasts 24/7, but you have to turn on the radio. Clause 2. Quick obedience, blind trust. This is the hardest clause. When the new tenant gives you an instruction, you have to act. Often, the instruction will not make logical sense. Leave this party now. But I just arrived. Don't sign that contract, ma'am, but it looks perfect. Talk to that stranger. How embarrassing. If the tenant speaks and you start debating with your logic, but what about, Betty, what if? You are breaking the contract. You are insulting his wisdom. Remember, the squatter used logic, of fear. The new tenant uses vision, of the whole. He sees things you do not see. He sees that contract has a trap. He sees that stranger is your future partner. The rule is, if you feel the impulse, the ping, follow it in less than 5 seconds. If you hesitate, the ego enters. If you act, you confirm faith. The more you blindly obey your intuition, the stronger and clearer the signal becomes. It's a muscle. Clause 3. Payment in joy, the currency of exchange. The squatter collected payment in cortisol, stress. The new tenant collects payment in joy and enthusiasm. The sign that the new tenant is in charge is that you feel alive. If you are doing something and feel heaviness, dead boredom, or constant friction, it is an alarm signal. It means the squatter has slipped in, or you are acting from should. The new tenant guides you through play. He tells you, let's try this, it will be fun. He tells you, do it with love or don't do it at all. Your job is to monitor your level of joy. If it drops, call an emergency meeting. Tenant, what's wrong? Have we deviated? The answer will always be, yes, you stopped listening to me and started worrying. Return to center. Clause 4. The no guests policy, permanent vigilance. Just because you have signed with the higher self does not mean the squatter will not try to return. He is a toxic ex-boyfriend. He will call drunk at 3 a.m. He will say, hey, remember how much fun we had worrying together? Look at this new problem, it's very serious, only I can handle it. The new tenant is peaceful. He will not fight the squatter. He will look at you and wait to see what you do. If you open the door to the squatter, the new tenant withdraws to the back. They cannot coexist in the living room. The vibration is incompatible. You have to be the guardian of the contract. When the squatter calls, you have to tell him, I'm sorry, the room is occupied, love already lives here. There is no room for you. And close the door in his face. The result, life in high definition. When you honor this contract for a while, the texture of your life changes. You stop surviving and start living. Colors seem brighter. You have more physical energy because you don't spend it fighting yourself. People tell you, you look different. Your face is glowing. It is because no one is stealing your light anymore. The house is illuminated. The windows are open. The music is playing. You are, finally, the king of your own castle. You are no longer a dilapidated building occupied by fear. You are a temple inhabited by divinity. And from that temple, you can build anything you desire. Look around you. We are at the end of the journey. I want you to take a moment to remember what this house was like when we started. Remember the noise. Remember the dirt. Remember the feeling of helplessness you had when you entered your own mind and felt you were not welcome. Remember the fear of that squatter intruder shouting at you from upstairs, making you believe he was the owner and you were the intruder. That time is over. Over 10 chapters we have executed a rescue operation. First, we turned on the light with the inspection. We discovered that the cruel voice was not you, but an obsolete defense mechanism born of trauma. We named it, unmasked it, and realized the monster was just a shadow projected on the wall. Then we moved into action with the eviction. You stopped negotiating with the terrorist. You stopped feeding him with your attention and your fear. You learned to use silence and indifference as weapons. You learned to say, enough, with an authority that shook the foundations of your subconscious. And finally, we arrived at the renovation. You changed the lock, installed security filters, and filled the empty rooms with furniture of gratitude and awe. You invited a new tenant, your higher self, to fill the space with light. Now you are standing in the entryway of your mind. Everything is calm. But I want to leave you with one final truth, the truth that separates those who are temporarily freed from those who are freed forever. Peace of mind is not a trophy that is won once and placed on the shelf. Peace of mind is a garden, and a garden requires maintenance. The fact that you evicted the squatter today does not guarantee that he won't try to return tomorrow. He is persistent. He knows your weaknesses. He knows which windows you usually leave open. There will be days when you are tired, sad, or vulnerable, and he will take advantage to put a foot in the door. He will whisper old fears. He will try to sell you old guilts. In that moment, do not panic. Do not think you have failed. Simply remember who you are. You are the landlord. You are the owner. You have the deeds. You do not have to fight him. You just have to remind him that he has no contract. Take out your key, close the door firmly, and return to your sofa to enjoy your silence. Your mind is no longer a dark alley where your own thoughts mug you. Now it is a temple. It is a sacred place where only what you permit enters. It is the laboratory where you create your life. It is the refuge where you rest.